Hello, and welcome to Homer for January 21st, 2025. Yep, January 21st, 2025. Hos Hector agorao epidetro escelatesan, oedipus men luson hypos dugu idrontas, desan hi mantesi paraharmasin oisin hekastos, ek poleios axon toboas kai ifia mela, Ka palimos oinon de melifrono ainis donto, si tontek megaron, epidek sulapol legonto. Knisendek pediu anemoi peron uranon eiso. Hoi de mega proneon tesepip tolemoi yoga puras. To panukioi parades physikai to pola, hostoten uranoi astra paienen hostoten uranoi astra paienen viselenen, vainetari prepea hotetep letonemenos aiter, ek defanen passai scopiai kai pro ona sacroi, kai napai ura noten daruper age aspetos aiter, panta de detai astra, gegeth deta frena poimen, tosa mesegu neon hede xantoi ovroaon, troon kai yonton pura fainato ilioti pro, kiliraren pedioi pura kaieto par de hekastoi, to pentekon taselai purus aitomenoio, hippoi de krilao koneleptomenoin kaioluras hestaotes parokes fineu thonon mimnon. All right, I got quite a few great things to review here. Anyway, thus spoke Hector. And the Trojans, they shouted in affirmative, and then they loosed their horses, and they're sweating horses from their bondage, from their tiness. They're tying together. There's Daugain, and then they tied them. Each, they fettered each of their leather, each of them to their leather. What's it called? Chariots, harmasin. Or whatever this is. Each of them individually. Anyway, so out of the city they let out cows and fat sheep, and they did this quickly, and they also bartered for wine is this word for a sweet-hearted wine, and then they also got food out of the city, and then they also gathered up much wood. And then Knisen, the smoke, out of the countryside, the winds bore it up into heaven. Okay, and now we reach this very, very beautiful passage here. Anyway, so with very, very great spirits, high hopes, I think is what the translation says. Yeah, high hearts, along the roads of war, they were there all night. They remained there all night. And there were many fires that were burning. Pura de Svisi, many fires of theirs were burning. And then just as in the sky, the stars shine very brightly, and also the moon shines most, brightly among them, without words, brightly among them. Ari prapeya, very distinguished. What is the etymology of this? I guess it's a Trojan specific word. Very good. Whenever there is no which follows hepluto, when there's no wind, so shown out, and thus shines also, all the looking out places and the Proones, great mountains, the forelands that are tall, and also the glens, and down from the sky, there is that there is that, this aspetos, this, unspeakable. That's the, not this one, kind of similar pi, alpha than pi words, but so thus breaks down from heaven this unspeakable, ether. Anyway, so, and you can see all the stars, and then the shepherd joys in their heart. Gegete poimen. In such a way was it between the ships on the Xanthus of the, and between the, the rivers of Xanthus and of the, Trojans burning fires, which shone out before Ilion. There were 1,000 of them that were burning in the countryside, and by each one of them there were 50 people by each selah, so each fire, and there was a fire burning, by each one of them, fire burning in the genitive, so, this is participial. And then their horses eating the white barley at Tomenoi, and they were while they were eating, and they were also eating this grain. What kind of type of grain? This rice wheat. They were standing by. What is this? Is this an aorist? Oh, it's perfect. Very good. Yeah, so they were made to stand, and they were standing by their cars, and they were remaining until fair-throned dawn. Now, why is this such a beautiful passage? Well, it's not just a beautiful passage because, it describes the star, the fires on the ground as the stars in the sky, but also because, there's this bucolic nature to the recitation of poetry in the Greek world, right? Like, there's this idea that, these oral traditions are preserved. Plato, in the Laws, he is castigating him. The Athenian stranger is castigating himself because, their legends are written down and they should be oral. That's it's a problem that they're written down. There's so many derivations that they get written down. And they're generally come up with by these shepherds, right? These sort of prophet-like figures, one might even say. And what is the shepherd glad at? The shepherd is glad at looking at the stars because that's where the answers come from. The answers come from above. And this actually turns it around, though, right? Which is that, the fires on the ground are like the stars in the sky on a perfectly clear night. And such a thing, all these fires on the ground, would gladden the heart of the shepherd. Why would it gladden the heart of the shepherd? Well, the shepherd loves to see God's design. And maybe that's what's going on here in all the Iliad. We just see a lovely rendition of God's designs, or, the God's plans and everything like that. What a wonderful way to close out Book 8. Thank you so much for reading this with me, and we will continue with Book 9 tomorrow. Have a wonderful day, and see you soon.